Hi guys. I know a lot of you probably have some really harsh and negative opinions towards me right now, and I understand why you do. But I'm asking you to please put those opinions aside for a few minutes and listen to everything I have to say. And if by the end of the video you still have the same opinion, then so be it. But at least you will have your opinion based off of the full story and the truth. I've recently come under some fire on social media for mistakes I've made in the past. I used to ask fans for twerking videos. Yes, twerking the dance move. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I think is right. And I shouldn't have done it. This really blew up online when a YouTuber, someone that's very popular on social media, somehow found this out and decided to blast it out there. I'm not going to say any names because I've come under attack on social media from my name being spread around, and I don't want to put that on anyone else. So throughout this story, I'm not going to say any names. It really blew up online, and sent me down a path that is pretty scary, and I'll go into more detail about this. But first, what I want to do is set the record straight. Since this started online, there are a lot of rumors and a lot of lies. They're just not true. Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. There were never any nudes, never any physical contact. It never happened. So, I just have to get that out there because nothing ever went further. Now, I was on tour at the time that this came out. This was in May, this was early May. I was on the road when this got blasted out there. We were in Boston, it was in the middle of the night, and when this happened, I made the decision to come home from tour. I knew that I couldn't be on the road under this stress, under this pressure, under all of this drama and controversy online. It wasn't something that I could emotionally handle. A lot of people ask, why did the initial statement take so long to get up? I put up a text statement and apology addressing the situation, but it took me about a week to do so. People thought that I was being a coward. People thought that I didn't want to confront the situation. They thought that I was just blowing it off. That's not true. As I said, I was on the road. I was on tour. We were all the way in Boston. So we had to make the drive all the way back from Boston to Chicago. On that drive, the only thing I did was look at my phone and look at all the hate and death threats. I got lost in it. I would read every little comment, every little person telling me to kill myself, every person telling me that life wasn't worth living for me anymore. And I'm a pretty insecure person to where negative comments like that really impact me. It's not something I can just brush off. And that entire ride home, I read those comments and I began researching different suicide methods. I started planning my suicide. It's something I was very, very serious about, and I was determined to do. I finally got home. When we got back, I didn't even step foot in my house. My family took me immediately to the hospital, and I was hospitalized for my suicidal tendencies. They were very worried, and I understand why they were. I had never been hospitalized before for my depression or my past self-harm or my suicidal thoughts. So this was the first time, and maybe I'll open up about it in a separate video, but this was a very, very interesting and emotional experience for me. So no, I wasn't cowering. I wasn't avoiding the situation. I was in a hospital. I had no internet connection. I had no connection to social media, so I couldn't put out a statement. I wanted to. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to confront it immediately, but I couldn't. As soon as I got out of the hospital, the next day, that's when I put it up. So that's why the initial statement took so long to get out. Now, what I want to do is tell you guys a little bit about my life. I'm not doing this looking for sympathy. I'm not doing this to guilt anybody. I'm not doing this to play the victim card. These aren't excuses for my actions, because I don't believe there are excuses for my actions. What I did was wrong. It's plain and simple, and there's no excuse for it. But the biggest question I get asked is why? Why did this happen? Why did I ask for those things? So in order to figure out why, you have to look at the reasons. And the reasons lie in my past, and in what I've experienced through life, and how I even got to that point. So this is just a little bit about my life. I'm not going to dive too deep into it to keep this video short. I experienced death and loss at a very young age. I had an older sister. She passed away when she was 10 years old. I was 6 years old at the time. Losing a sibling for anybody is tragic, and going through it at such a young age was very difficult for me. And although I barely knew her, I miss her a lot to this day. I really do. I went through a series of funerals when I was very young. Most were distant relatives that I either didn't even know at all, or I had only seen on a few occasions, but I was so young that I really didn't know who they were. But I was going to so many funerals that as a kid I began to associate dress shoes with funerals. It's the only time I dressed up. So that's how much death I was experiencing at such a young age, is that I thought that dress shoes were only worn when people died. My father is another topic I want to dive into. I barely saw my father. My parents divorced at a very, very young age, and the last time I saw him was when I was 8 years old. My father was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and he couldn't get control of his life because of it. And I have a deeper connection with my father. I have 2 brothers, both of which don't look as much like my dad as I do. I act the most like my dad, so there are some deeper emotional struggles that I have with my father and with the relationship with my father. But the last time I saw him was when I was 8, and he passed away when I was 16. So I didn't see him any other time past when I was 8 years old, and his addictions got the best of him. When I was 16, a few months before he passed away, my family and we went through a house fire. We were away visiting relatives, and somebody broke into our house, stole some things, and burned the entire house down. Now I know it sounds not as bad as it feels, because we lost things. We didn't lose people at that time, but my life was completely uprooted. I lost everything. I lost my entire house. It was a huge change of pace. Anything that we had to remember family by, any photos of my sister or my father were gone. It was tough. Within that same few month time span, about a month after my father passed away, my grandfather passed away, and I was very close to my grandfather. He was the last of my living grandparents that I was close to, biologically, and yeah, it was a really, really tough 6 months. That's when, after that happened, that's when I began self-harming. I used to cut my wrists, and I'm over 3 years clean of that now, something that I'm very proud of. But all of these life events, all of these deaths, this loss, left me with a really deep depression. And I was an insecure, depressed guy, and I began searching for attention in the wrong ways. Asking fans for those things. It was because I was desperate for attention. I was desperate for reassurance. I wanted to feel good about myself. At the time, I thought it was just fun and goofy. You know, I was young. I was stupid. I wasn't thinking clearly. Over time, I've began to see, it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done it. So that's why it happened. Like I said, doesn't excuse my actions, doesn't justify it. That's not why I told you all of that. I told you it so that you would understand why I was that desperate, why I was even asking for those things. It was that depression piling up into me searching for attention. Sorry, it's a lot to talk about, and I really want to stay on subject. So, something else that I want to talk about is people saying that you're only sorry that you got caught. You apologize because you got caught. You don't actually feel sorry. That's so far from the truth. This has been something that's eaten me alive for quite some time. The guilt has been piling up for months. I mean, it's constant guilt. It sits and festers in my stomach, and it wouldn't go away. And this is before it became public a month ago. This is something that I've regretted for a long time. And there are a few actual examples that show that. Before I went on tour, on my last tour, a few months ago, I started going back to therapy for this specific reason, because I regretted it so much, and I couldn't move past it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop feeling like absolute shit for what I had done. So I went back to therapy before I left for tour. Also, a few months before this became public, I talked to a couple of my co-workers, if you want to call them that, one of which is very popular online. If you're part of this specific music scene, you'd know exactly who he is if I told you who he was. So this is a pretty big, and I'd like to consider reputable man. I went to him with this. I told him my entire past. I told him that I felt so guilty for this, and that I regret it, and that I wanted to confess all of this in a video. Come clean about it. Just get it off my chest so I can stop living with the guilt and officially apologize to everybody. He told me not to. He told me that it would only hurt my career, and what I did wasn't even that bad, and that I should just not even think about it. I just shouldn't do it. I should have trusted my instincts, but I didn't, and therefore I didn't make the video. I didn't confess to it, and I really wish I would have, because people wouldn't think that I'm only remorseful because this became public. People would understand that I really did regret my decisions. So yeah, I'm not only sorry I got caught. I've been sorry for a very, very long time. So I'd like to now officially apologize. First and foremost, I want to apologize to any of the girls that I talked to and I asked to do that. I am very, very sorry. I shouldn't have asked you to do that. It was foolish of me, and it was wrong. I shouldn't have done it. I'd also like to apologize to any fans or people that aren't fans that feel that they've been hurt because they feel like they've been lied to by me. I'm really sorry about all of this, and I'm sorry if I've disappointed you. I really, truly am. So, there is no way to right my wrongs. There's no way to fix this. There's not a simple solution to say, okay, I'm forgiven. But I hope that at least some of you will possibly forgive me. And if you don't forgive me, at least maybe give me a chance, because I am so much better than the terrible decisions I made when I was desperate for attention. I'm better than that. I'm a different person. I've completely changed from all of that. I don't know how to show you guys that, but I think with time, you'll see. You'll see that I'm better now, and I'm here to truly make a difference. So I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward with my music. I'm going to be getting back on social media now. I'm going to start making my goofy, funny videos for you guys, because I know that some of you still like them, and they still brighten your day. I'm moving forward. And I know some of you won't let this go. Some of you will still feel the need to comment on every little thing that I post, telling me to kill myself. If you want to do that, you can do that. But I'd recommend you to find something more positive to do with your time, as opposed to tear me down. I'm already fighting a daily battle, and you can choose to add to it, but I'm not going to give up because of your words. So once again, I'm moving forward. And I'll see you guys soon. I'm truly sorry, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.